acting on a tip-off of some stockpile of weapons.
Our core mandate was that there will be a probable cordon and search operation, but before we will conduct a confidence building within the jurisdiction.
But under what circumstances will members of the SWAT team wear masks?
Sometimes we go and lay ambush somewhere and we become prey to mosquitoes. So we have a particular gear that you wear that covers your neck and your face so that you will not get mosquito bites.
Tonight, the assault on the MP for Ningo Pram Sam George and the story behind the bloodstains will bring you the account of DSP Samuel Azugu here on Newsnight. Also, CSO's call for review of GNPC's governance structure as they condemn clash between board chairman Freddie Blay and CEO KK Sapong.
It appears to me that GNPC is being treated as an extension of the MPP bureaucracy.
And also tonight, Education Ministry jumps to the defense of Under Fire Ho Technical University Vice Chancellor over his academic qualification controversy.
A private search was conducted by the National Commission for Tertiary Education in that regard. What came out was that the degree that is being held by the said professor can qualify him for him to be a vice chancellor of the university. So it is not fake, as the allegations have been leveled against him.
But some faculty members insist Professor Huanyuga's doctoral and professorial qualifications are questionable. We have business as well.
And Kamena bank treasurers and currency dealers insist current pressure on City are backed by real demand from businesses.
And later in sports, the Ghana Football Association Normalization Committee denies media reports suggesting the Ghana Under-20 team was stranded in Niger following the abysmal performance at the just-ended African Youth Championship.
We have all that and more here on Newsnight. You may want to join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp. It's on 0244340437. I am Emefa Pau.
My name is Evans Mensah.
In our very first story for tonight, Minister for National Security Kandapa and his Minister of State Brian Champong were emphatic. The police, SWAT team and operatives of the National Security were at Ayawaso West Wogon during the parliamentary by-election based on a tip-off of some unknown people had brought in weapons to the area.
But today, commander of that unit, and in fact all of them refer to Samuel Kwejo Azugu as the man who can speak authoritatively about what they actually did. He told the Presidential Commission investigating the disturbances that characterized the by-election that his men were sent to one, boost confidence, and two, undertake what he calls cordon and search activities. Now, last week at the hearing, Minister of State the National Security, Brian Champong, said the presence of the SWAT had nothing to do with the election, but to recover weapons hidden in a warehouse. Listen.
In the broad category of weapons, let me put it that way, the intelligence they received suggests that some undesirable materials were being sent to a particular warehouse, and they had extensive details on that intelligence, and it included weapons, which they were concerned about.
So you had the Minister of State in charge of national security, Brian Champong, back then. But the man who commands the unit, DSP Samuel Azugu, indicated before the commission their presence had more to do with confidence building and search activities.
Our core mandate was that there will be a probable cordon and search operation at a location. But before the green light will come, we will conduct a confidence building within the jurisdiction before we probably conduct the exercise.
So did I misunderstand you when you said I was given an information while setting off for our location that there was an intelligence of stockpiling of weapons or something like that? So I must go to that area to make arrangements for deployment. You said something to that effect.
The information, it depends, depending on what, I don't think I stated this here. Did I state it here today?
Yes, sir.
My Lord, I did not state that I had, before we set out, the briefing was that there was a possibility that as we are going, there will be a probable cordon and search operation at a location within that enclave.
So that is why you went with 60 people.
Sir, my lord, when you are going to cordon
you
off...
carry on, they are recording.
Okay,
so
when you are going to cordon off an area to operate, and taking into the fact that that day was an election day, and there will be a lot of civilian pedestrians, onlookers, observers around that facility, we have to deploy enough men to ward off, to cordon the place, not by even showing, by positioning themselves.
So the issues about weapons also came up. He was shown some pictures to be able to identify, but he says that because the pictures were in black and white, he was unable to identify it. The issue about uniforms also came up, and of course, the issue about the masks, why the men wearing masks. This is his response.
Depending on the nature of the assignment, sometimes we go and lay ambush somewhere, and we become prey to mosquitoes. So we have particular gear that you wear that covers your neck and your face so that you will not get mosquito bites. So some of them, when we are moving, they put them on them as a precautionary measure. So at a point, they decide to put them on based on the area that they reach, because there's no need for the general public to identify that, hey, this is this man going, this is this man going, because he comes back into that same community and fetch for information.
On this particular operation, why were they masked?
I'm yet to get that information from
You didn't know?
I'm yet to, my lord.
Are you aware of any policy which determines when members of the SWAT team would be masked on that issue of wearing masks?
Yes, my lord.
What is the policy?
That is...
You mentioned maybe they want protection from mosquitoes and so on, but this was an operation during the day.
Yes, my lord.
This particular operation, you say you cannot tell why some of them wear masks. Yeah, definitely it wasn't for protection from mosquitoes.
Yes, my lord. I use that example to buttress the fact that in preparation for a possible staying outside overnight, but whilst on that particular day, those you saw in masks, I am yet to know why they decided to put it on. I have to admit that.
Even though you were in charge of the team?
Yes, my lord.
You didn't know why?
Yes, my lord. I'm yet to know, sir.
Well, Member of Parliament for Nego Pram Sam George was assaulted by a member of the National Security Team, but whilst condemning the act, DSP Samuel Azugu said Sam George's utterances provoked his men to attack him.
At the end of everything, when we were about to move, even, my lord, I was even worried. I was, because I did not see him from the point where we were being pelted with the stones, I was worried that, what is going on? If something should happen to this honorable MP, what are we going to, or am I going to say? Because people saw me interacting with him, running towards that direction, and he goes missing. And so as at that time, I didn't even know what was happening to him. So even when we were moving away, I was reluctant to move because I wanted to make sure I've seen him. But because we have to move, we're moving. And my vehicle, as I stated, my vehicle was on the main road in the convoy. It was in the main road, and the remaining vehicles have to arrange themselves before we move. Before we move, we arrange ourselves in the positioning that, original position that we had, so that we can move smoothly. So whilst I was looking at with the hindsight of the video, Whilst I was in my vehicle and we were about to move, that was when the incident, and I don't know why the Honorable MP chose to come to the end, because I believe that was the 7th vehicle in the convoy. And my MP was alive. He had no problem, but he chose to be escorted by people to go and attack my boys in the convoy when he knows that I was there.
Officer, you are making me sad. You had gone to a place, there had been a bit of a melee. Your MP was there. You were worried about him, wondering where he had got up to, because if anything happened to him, you would have to account for it. You didn't get out from your vehicle to look for him?
My Lord, apparently, he was part of those who entered the building, part of those who succeeded in entering the building, which was under lock.
Are you guessing, or you know for sure?
I know for sure, because those boys who were escorting him when he was alleged to be assaulted, I never set eyes, even they were not part of the riders. The uniform they were wearing, one was wearing...
The riders were wearing uniform?
No, they were wearing normal mufti.
So you heard the DSP Samuel Kojo Azugu.
Well, he also indicated that he has fully briefed the Director of Operations with the Ghana Police Service following the assault and arrest of some individuals for rioting.
Even after the arrest, I called my director, who directed that I should call Director of Operations. So I called him. But then I added that this was what had happened.
So you did not call him for reinforcement?
Directly, no. I didn't call him directly, no. But I only radioed.
You said your people used minimum force to subdue those who were resisting lawful arrest.
My Lord, I believe the exuberance that was shown was something, me, myself, afterwards,
Brutality or exuberance? Let's pick our words carefully. Brutality or exuberance?
My Lord, they wanted to subdue the suspects who tried to run away from lawful arrest.
Were these the police officers? Were these the police officers or the civilians who came along?
So now I'm now previewing the video to actually...
It's been more than 2 weeks, sir.
Yes, ma'am. The videos keep different videos. So I cannot conclude that this, even though there are some of them I can identify.
But you were there, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
And you took the suspect to the police station?
Yes, ma'am.
At what point were they brutalized?
It was when we arrested them and we were bringing them towards the vehicles to be conveyed. When they got to the park, and some of them, on seeing that there were people around and whatever, they wanted to escape from initially they were being escorted, all right, but they wanted to take advantage of the situation and sneak away and run away. That's why the boys also pounced on them and tried to subdue them.
So what do you make of what you've just heard there? I want you to send us your WhatsApp, your thoughts on this, 0244-340437.
Now, let's do some analysis on this. And we've been joined on the phone by retired Colonel Festus Abuaji. He's a security analyst. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So you must have listened or watched DSP Samuel Kojo Azugu. He's the commander for the day, the man who's supposed to have all the answers to what happened that day. What's your reaction listening to him?
Well, I think his evidence, by and large, reinforces the general perception of contradictions and inconsistencies and potential inaccuracies in the statements by some of the witnesses who have so far appeared before the commission. particularly on his evidence. I think I have listed about 4 key areas that we can interrogate. The first one relates to the task that his force was given. And in his own words, there were confidence building and patrols. And if I understood him well, at some point in time, whilst en route, they added, or his authorities added, surveillance. So let's say he was given a 3-part mission: to build confidence, to conduct patrols, and to place a certain locality or specific locality under surveillance. The way and manner in which he went about this, I think, has been adequately contextualized by some of the questions that Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu asked as to whether their actions, the mode in which they conducted the operations, the nature of the men who were conducting the operations, especially being masked and heavily armed, and the brutal manner in which some of the persons in the locality were handled, whether this sapped the confidence of the populace or whether indeed it contributed to confidence building. He needs to explain that a bit more. There's also the question about the intelligence. And I'm arguing that, granted that there was credible intelligence, we need to ask questions about whether the manner in which the operations were planned, were conducted, and the total absence of any hot wash or after action review and reporting. Say the situation report that he mentioned, and the tendency that many of the witnesses are now referring to this commission's work and or the CID's work. Now, it raises a lot of questions whether in a real-life situation, if we have a terrorist incident in this country, whether this force that was deployed would indeed be capable of managing the situation. Because at the end of the day, as the commission tried to impress upon him, they aborted the operation. They failed to place the locality under surveillance. And ultimately, no weapons or no ammunition that were being stockpiled, allegedly, were recovered. So we can all argue or conclude that the alleged weapons that were being stockpiled are now at large within the Ghanaian society, and it doesn't augur well for national security.
That is, if it's true that indeed there was intelligence, credible intelligence, actionable one, that the guns were there.
Yeah, I would agree with you. We cannot question the veracity of the intelligence. We need to assume that the intelligence was right. At the end of the day, it will be up to the commission to tell Ghanaians whether indeed the allegation of intelligence was a ploy that was used, or whether indeed there was credible intelligence, especially if the backup force that, according to DSP Azugu, was eventually deployed, if that backup force or the reinforcement was able to recover weapons from that locality, then we can all agree to some degree, a reasonable degree, that there was credible intelligence.
Also, something that came up today was about the uniform that the individuals wore to the place. And the commander himself, Mr. Azugu, appeared to suggest that they were not all uniform. There wasn't uniformity in what people were wearing. And he was questioning about that. I just wonder, when you listen to that as a security expert, that you have deployed people that we are told are counter-terrorist operatives on the national security, and yet they go to the scene and all of them are wearing, it appears from the answer that people were wearing what they liked. From a security expert's point of view, you listen to him and you think what?
Well, my first inference will be that he did not exercise sufficient command and control over the force that he ultimately commanded to conduct the operations. Because he was very, very clear that he did not expect the force to be marked. And yet, at a point in time, as the commission tried to put to him, when he became aware that they were masked, he also didn't take any specific steps to get them to unmask, which, as Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu tried to suggest, all undermine the so-called confidence-building tasks that they were given. But at the bottom of this dimension of the evidence today is the question around the nature of our security architecture, the questions around this force that is being commanded and controlled either directly under the Ministry for National Security or the National Security Coordinator, together with the Armory, and if I should even extend that, together with barracks, because he did say that they were given beds or they have places where they can rest overnight if they go in for impending operations and so on. Ultimately, the Commission would need to advise or pronounce itself on this character of this force, that if indeed Ghana needs a SWAT team for counter-terrorism purposes, not for internal security of the nature that we saw it, but for counter-terrorism and even for national internal security, where should the locus of that force be? Should it be within the police service that is statutorily established, or should it be within the Ghana Armed Forces, a combination of the two, or whether persons who have not been delegated with command and control powers can exercise command over this force. This narrative is completely different, for instance, for the IGP, who has command and control powers and is answerable to institutions of the state. And you can say the same thing about the chief of the defense staff. But you cannot say the same thing about the director of operations, because he hasn't got powers of command. And if indeed he's got powers of command, the powers of command should be tabled before the commission. So there are serious questions that we need to ask. And we need, in fact, I've argued somewhere that in accordance with the ECOWAS policy framework, for member states to establish a security sector reform and governance policy, we need, as part of this exercise or going forward, to go back to that ECOWAS protocol and ensure that as a country we establish a national security sector reform and governance policy that clearly, in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution or relevant provisions, determine which are the forces that should be established and clothed with the coercive instruments
of the state. I'm grateful that you joined us, Colonel. Retired Colonel Festus Obwaja, the security expert, helping us appreciate what happened today before the commission. And let's switch attention slightly to civil society and what is happening at the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, because the civil society organizations in the extractive sector are calling for a review of the governance structure at the GNPC. They are concerned about what they describe as over-politicization of the state entity. Now,
GNPC board chairman Freddie Blay and CEO Dr. KK Sapon have clashed over recruitment over a procurement officer for the corporation. Mr. KK Sapon has accused Mr. Blay of interference after the board chair asked a finance officer at the corporation to headhunt a procurement manager. Dr. Steve Mantia, who is co-chair of the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, says immediate steps are needed to avoid such situations in the future.
The whole problem in terms of politicization of a national commercial entity as strategic as GNPC has been compounded under this government, to the extent that in some respects it appears to me that GNPC is being treated as an extension of the MPP bureaucracy, where you have the party chairman chairing the board, and then through the instrumentation of this same party chairman appointing a former youth organizer, deputy youth organizer of a party as the CEO of GNPC Foundation. I think this sends wrong signals in terms of the expectation of the international community to depoliticize GNPC and allow it to operate as a purely commercial entity. My particular worry is that if Ghanaians are not careful in the 2020 elections, we'll see a lot of quasi-fiscal expenditures being undertaken by GNPC through its foundation, all ostensibly to influence the outcome of the 2020 elections.
Now, the technical consultant for Ghana Oil and Gas for Inclusive Growth, Samuel Bekwe, says the impasse must be immediately resolved.
But look, what are we seeing? In the last government, in this government, it has been the same. It sounds like, I'm not saying they don't qualify, but it sounds like some party officials are appointed to head GNPC. You can see that even sometimes the political capture in GNPC, which seems like it's quite becoming uncomfortable because of some of the information that have been going around about GNPC now. And what I suggest is that the government should take a real look. We should have a discussion on GNPC and look at what are the corporate governance measures that would help GNPC to actually build as a company which will be independent of government in the near future. The strategic vision of GNPC is to be an independent producer of oil and gas in Ghana. And so we need better corporate governance. We don't want to end up like, say, NNPC, which have had a lot of issues in the public, or even Petrobras, which has actually caused the Brazilian economy.
Let's speak to George Miracle Duka. He's the Vice Chair of Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee. Mr. Duka, thank you for your time here on Newsnight. I'm pretty certain this has come to your attention. Parliament is in session. What has the committee done about this?
Good evening to your cherished listeners. As a committee, we haven't received any letter concerning this challenge that you've raised on your able air. What I know personally is that there are one or two misunderstandings between the chair and the chief executive, as you've raised. But it hasn't gotten to a point of that limit where it's being speculated as if it's something that cannot be handled. I have spoken to the chair, and I've also had one or two discussions elsewhere with the chief executive, and I don't think it's something that cannot be discussed. My brother mentioned, the chair as the party's chairman, and that of the one handling the foundation. We shouldn't lower the discussion to that level. If you go that tangent, then you're talking of the qualification of the chairman and that of the CEO. If you take the chairman, for instance, he's a lawyer of good standing, and obviously has also held various.
Yeah, Mr. Duka, I get your point. But if you say he's a chairman, it's a statement of fact. He is a NPP national chairman.
Yes, I agree. But the aspect of it is that doesn't he qualify to occupy that position? That is something you need to ask. And if you're talking of the GNPC being handled independently, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I know. I mean, I believe we don't want to turn this into an argument about people's qualifications or not. I guess there's an issue now that we all know has played out in the media that may be affecting the GNPC's ability to work because the board chair and the CEO seem to not agree. Do I get a firm word from you that your committee will be looking into this?
Yes. What I am telling you is that I am even surprised that it's gotten to this stage, because I know it's something that shouldn't have even gotten to this level. And very soon, I know from where, because I was with the chair at Koforidua over the weekend for a retreat, and there isn't any tension surrounding all of these things. I think it's a storm in a teacup. The matter is being resolved, and very soon we hear very positive story out of it.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That is the Deputy Chair, Vice Chair of the Banks and Energy Committee. Still to come here on Newsnight.
Residents in parts of Accra express worry over fears the country is returning to the era of doomsday following the frequent interruption of power supply in the last few days. We'll bring you more on this shortly after the break.
Okay.
Superior services, your success our portion. Trusted, innovative financial services, providing inflation support and solutions. Customer-oriented, superior services, your success our portion. 10 good years of loyalty, service with integrity, protective of our guardian brand. 10 years of excellence, 10 years of loyalty, your success our passion. Oh yeah, your success our passion.
Your success our passion.
Hello, I say, I was now. Vodafone normal 10 megabyte free data. It will call Smoke Ruby Adrian. Share.
Hello, have you heard that Vodafone is giving 10 megabyte free data for every minute you talk? You just dial 50-50.
Yeah, hello? Aha! Right now, with the Vodafone people, just they can call plenty. Second of us, you talk 1 minute, you go get 10 megabytes. You talk 2 minutes, you go get 20 megabytes. 3 minutes.
Call Vodafone or any network and get 10 megabytes of free data every minute you talk. It's simple. Talk to browse. The more you talk, the more data you get. Dial 50-50 to subscribe. Talk more, browse more. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Joy 99.7 FM, radio for the discerning listener.
Thanks for staying with us here on Newsnight. It's time now for the latest from the world of business. George Yafe joins us in the studio. How are you doing, George?
If I'm doing okay, and coming up in business, the World Bank Country Director sets conditions for supporting the country's planned $3 billion Eurobond issue. And we'll also be hearing from the Association of Currency Dealers, who are insisting that the current pressure on the Ghana cedi is backed by real demand from businesses. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And also First National Bank. How can they actually tell you that they are the right business to help small firms out there? Let's now settle for the details. The World Bank says they would give their full support to the planned Eurobond sale only if it will help reduce the country's debts. Government could in the coming weeks begin the process of raising $3 billion through the Eurobond sale. The Bank of Ghana puts the country's total debt stock at 173 billion Ghana cedis ending November 2018. Country Director of the World Bank, Henry Kerali, says it is important that these funds are channeled to areas that can pay for itself and also help reduce the debt position.
If it's going to be used in a way that will reduce the overall debt burden in the long term, then it's a positive. That's the key challenge, is to ensure that the overall long-term, medium to long-term debt profile will be brought down and it's less of a burden on Ghana. But you also asked, should the government go out and borrow more for infrastructure? Our view would be to try and bring in public-private partnerships more, where the infrastructure pays for itself. But the true measure is whether these funds will overall lead to a lower debt burden over time. Because if you're going to accumulate more debt, then what will happen is even the capital markets themselves will price you out. So the interest rates that they will charge, the coupon rates that they will demand, will be so high that it might not be worth proceeding with.
And that's the World Bank Country Director, Henry Kerali. We understand that the government is planning to use the funds to clear maturing debts and some expensive loans. Now, treasurers and currency dealers with the commercial banks have rejected reports that the current pressure on the cedi is mainly due to the activities of speculators. The local currency has witnessed some serious depreciation over the past month, trading this morning or even today at around 5 Ghana cedi 31 pesos. There have been suggestions that the development was as a result of businesses betting on the currency, resulting in this challenge. The president of the Association of Financial Market Operators, Kofi Asare, insists that that is not the situation on the ground.
Banks are heavily regulated by the central bank, right? You cannot sell USD to somebody without documentation, and that documentation will be based on a genuine need, right? Either he's got some capex to do, either he's got to do some importation to restock his institution, whether he has to buy fertilizer. Either which way, as long as we don't produce this here, it will have to come from there. Coupon payments, that's genuine. Dividend payments, that's genuine. All of that will be supported by documents. So you will not have people just buying dollars from a bank without relevant documentation. So to answer your question shortly, yes, this is genuine demand. It is not fabricated. You've got the component where you have genuine dollar requests coming to one institution. But remember, a lot of people are multi-bank. So George Riafe, when he wants to buy dollars, if he calls Bank A, I want to buy $10 million, he is likely to call about 5 different banks saying, I want to buy $10 million, just to find out where he will get the best possible rate. If he says, I need to pay this bill, find me the dollars. What you can find is that you've got 5 banks looking for $50 million because he went to 5 banks and made it seem like there's a need for that. So that's the area where you can have potential noise because we're a multi-banked economy, right? However, when it comes down to it, the moment George Riafe gets his 10 million, the other 40 million needs a home. That means that somebody is going to buy dollars at a rate and now has to come and force sell it into the
Kofi Asare-Apianim is president of the Association of Financial Market Operators. The association is made up of treasurers, financial market operators, and currency dealers, as well as bank treasurers. Now, government is now taking steps to secure financial and insurance cover to deal with natural disasters across the country. Now, this was after it signed an agreement with a specialized agency under the African Union, that's the Africa Risk Capacity, to help manage national disasters. The agency would also provide the required financial guarantees to help de-risk the agricultural sector. Let's hear from Kweku Kwarteng, his Deputy Minister of Finance.
Signal to those who want to do business in our economy, those who want to partner us in some way, that Ghana has the capacity, or Ghana has improved its capacity to respond to disasters should they happen. So the benefits, as far as I'm concerned, is immediate.
How would this impact in terms of our cost of our loans and all that? Because some of these risks are sometimes priced into some of these things when we engage our partners outside the country.
Exactly. It makes doing business in our economy less risky, which has implications for the price of the facilities that we take.
Deputy Minister of Finance Kweku Kwarteng. On the Ghana National Gas Company has been given details on the debts owed by the Water Review Authority. The news conference to the head of finance, that is Emmanuel Eso, said they've been making some progress to clear the about $735 million debt.
It is expected that we would receive monies for the supplies that we give them for power production. Unfortunately, over the years, that payment has not been forthcoming. Sometime last year, we were able to get an arrangement with them where they were paying $3 million every month, sometime from April. However, that ceased in October. And so altogether, last year, we received just around $20 million from VRA as against the average of $30 million that we give them every month.
And that's the head of finance at the Ghana Gas Company, that is Emmanuel Essel, telling us some details on what VRA is doing to clear the $735 million debt owed that company. Now, telecoms operator Airtel Tigo says it could start extending some financial support in future to small businesses through its business initiative platform. Telecoms company has launched the Business Solutions platform aimed at supporting small businesses in the country. Metuan Gambe she says that this is the way going forward to help support the economy and small businesses.
Our portfolio is continuously evolving. Today what we provide is connectivity solutions. Of course, with the evolution of our solutions and products and services, things like that could definitely be looked into. Unlike the main brand, does not only provide solutions to individual consumers, but specifically to corporate customers, businesses of small, medium, large in size. It provides solutions beyond just the mobile phone, providing solutions such as fixed internet connectivity solutions, not only in Ghana, but connecting Ghana also to other countries in Africa.
Mr. Ngambe is Chief Executive of Airtel Tigo. And that's all for Business on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, Josh. We'll be right back after this break.
Hello, and welcome
Welcome to the MTN Weather Report. Minim says still, I'm not for Botoma and dry. But this year, whatever your needs are, we're there for you. Now the details of my weather report. 15,000 cities go blow from the intertropical boundaries across the country. Rhyming. We can also see a mist of fog patches of 25,000 cities and a heavy monetary downpour of 30,000 cities are a move to treat the dry season across the country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, everywhere you go, whether it be school fees or acquisition fees, we're there for you. Rent advance, salary advance, there's sorting advance, because with MTN, we're there for you. Now keep talking, browsing, texting, and sending Momo to accumulate points and win prizes each month to cushion you this year in the MTN More For You promo. 80 dial *120 hash. Now check your points. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Everybody make us see you do the dance. Do the dance.
We give you nothing but the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Let us help you bank with the right bank. At First National Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're a digital partner that actually understands your business. Enjoy massive value with our various banking solutions. Get a business check account, a day-to-day transactional account for all businesses from all sectors of the economy. Access our online banking enterprise and bank your way 24/7. Invest with our short or long-term options that enable immediate access to funds. Optimize your cash flow, raise capital, and acquire assets with ease with our lending solutions. Trade with speed, consistency, and innovation with our global payments and forex solutions. With so much value up for grabs, there is no reason not to bank with First National Bank. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Ma, I'm going to the bank to deposit some money. I'll be back soon, okay?
Kofi, with all that has been going on, are you still going to deposit money at the bank?
Oh, Ma, don't worry at all. I keep all my money at the bank and it's safe. The Bank of Ghana has taken some bold measures to strengthen our banks and protect our money. This will ensure that the banks have more capital to do their business and are better governed so that they can protect the money we entrust to them. Banks will also be able to provide better services to their customers and support more businesses and the economy as a whole.
Wow, Kofi, that is very good. We should continue to keep our money in the banks and not take them to unlicensed institutions which promise us the moon and yet run away with our money. Kofi, go and deposit your money at the bank and come back quickly for your lunch. Their punchy cracker is almost ready.
Bank of Ghana, promoting a safer and resilient banking system.
You're welcome back. You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Education Ministry has tonight jumped to the defense of Vice Chancellor of the Ho Technical University, Professor Ben Kwashi Honyenuga, over his academic qualification controversy.
Well, last week, some faculty members at the university told Joy News Professor Honyenuga's PhD and other certificates are questionable, prompting a petition to the school's governing council, the National Accreditation Board, IOCO, and the National Council for Tertiary Education, NCTE. Now, one of them, Dr. Richard Akplochi, says none of the entities have responded to their petition, thereby making Professor Honyenuga unfit to occupy the VC's office.
We petitioned the Vice Chancellor after we detected through basic documents within the university that there were inconsistencies in the qualifications of Mr. Ben Honyenuga. Looking at the circumstances under which the man got his PhD from Open University from Helen, it will be difficult for any academic audit to establish that because there were basic questions that we asked in our petition. When did he enroll? Because we know that 2006-2009, Rector's report talked about Mr. Honyenuga enrolling on a PhD program at KNUST in management. sponsored. What became of that, nobody is able to say. If you go to the report again, 2010 to 2013, he was sponsored under the NUFIC program to go to Maastricht School of Management for a PhD in management. But in 2014, thereabouts, he brought an MPhil. What did the university do when a staff was sponsored to go in out there to bring a PhD and later came out with an MPhil? We want answers to that. NCTE wrote a letter to the university on the 17th of September 2018, and this letter directed the council to investigate Dr. Onyenuga's PhD and the report back to them. Then we said, look, we have written to NAB, we have written to EOCO, we've written to you, and these were the responses you gave us. We did not have any correspondence from NAB and NCTE. Therefore, could you make available the correspondence between you and NAB or NCTE to us?
But tonight, the Education Ministry says all processes leading to the confirmation of the appointment of Professor Ben Honyenuga were followed. Here's a Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Education, Vincent Eko Asifua.
The Ministry of Education has not, no way, given any direction to the school to, as it were, halt the processes leading to the appointment of the Vice Chancellor of Paul Polytechnic. Rather, what has been done is that there is a guideline that is supposed to be followed by every council of universities across the country when there is a need for a vice chancellor to be appointed. And one of the key processes in the guideline is that the National Commission for Tertiary Education will have to see the advert that is going into the newspapers. In this instance, Paul Polytechnic failed to let National Commission for Tertiary Education see the particular advert. Initially, what the National Commission for Tertiary Education sought to do was that Paul Polytechnic was to go back and make sure that the right thing is done per the guidelines that is supposed to be used to appoint the Vice Chancellor. It made mention of a professorial status. So if you want to apply for you to be a Vice Chancellor of Paul Polytechnic, you should be of the level of a professorial status. Meanwhile, the guideline is that you are supposed to indicate that you should be a full professor or an associate professor.
They say, for example, that they've petitioned the NCTE and the National Accreditation Board specifically on the degree that the professor holds, his professorial degree first of all, where he is said to have achieved or been awarded that degree, and even his PhD.
A private search was conducted by the National Commission for Tertiary Education in that regard, and what happened was that, or what came out was that the degree that is being held by the said professor is one that can qualify him for him to be a vice chancellor of the university. So it is not fake, as the allegations have been leveled against him.
Well, that's the Education Ministry PRO, Vincent Eko Asifua, who's also denied that Professor Ben Kwashi Honyenuga's appointment had been revoked. But Dr. Richard Akplochi insists they are yet to receive any response from the NCTE and the Accreditation Board on these concerns.
If the staff came out to say that NAB had cleared Mr. Honyenuga and that his certificate is okay, there are two questions I will ask him. If NAB had cleared this man, that his PhD is good and for that matter could be used in any tertiary institution in Ghana, the basic question I want to ask, why did they write to us on the 19th of December 2018 when the man was purportedly cleared on the 13th of December to give them further evidence to investigate the certificate? Why did they again write to us on the 25th of January this year asking us to give them further evidence in order to investigate Mr. Honyenuga's PhD? We are not against any individual. We are trying to be citizens, and we will not do anything to bring the university's name into disrepute. The issue of NAB clearing, to the best of our knowledge, we have had no information from the National Accreditation Board since our petition went out to them in August last year. What is equally interesting is that information available to us from other investigative agencies, particularly EOCO, is that they had a meeting about 3 weeks ago with National Accreditation Board, and they made us aware informally that the National Accreditation Board is yet to write an official position on the authenticity of the certificate brought by Mr. Honyenuga. All we are asking is, when did he enroll onto the PhD program at Open University? Did he enroll in 2014 and finish in 2015? Did the university internal procedures work? Which people sat down to approve the certificate? Are we now seeking accreditation after the man's PhD was approved, or National Accreditation Board gave the go-ahead in 2015 when he bought the certificate?
You heard there Dr. Richard Aklochi, a faculty member of the Ho Technical University, still challenging the authenticity of Dr. Ben Kwashi Honyanuga's appointment as Vice-Chancellor of the university.
We can now do sports, and Hans is here.
I'm sure you're looking forward to the game tonight.
You know, because of all the things that have been happening in the last few days, somehow I've lost track of football. I actually forgotten that we are playing Chelsea tonight.
Okay, so you get to play
What time is
in the
it?
FA Cup, 7:30. Game kicks off, but I'll bring you the team news ahead of that game a bit later. Recent reports suggesting the Ghana under-20 team, the Black Satellites, were stranded in Niger are forced. This is according to spokesperson of the Normalization Committee, Dan Kweku Yeboah. Now, after the team's abysmal showing at the tournament, which saw them exit at the group stage, where reports were rife that coach Jimmy Cobbler and his players, as well as other members of the team, had been thrown out of their hotel with no food to eat. But Dan Kweku Yeboah tells Joy Sports that never happens, as he explains what the actual story was.
They arrived 2 days ago. All the players and the officials are in town. I don't really understand why people termed their situation as being stranded. I don't know whether if you are in your hotel room, confined, fed, morning, afternoon, evening, the mere fact that you can't get the next available flight home amounts to being stranded.
So what's got to do with flight issues?
Exactly. What we did was that we arranged their flight itinerary in such a way that they would leave Niger after the last match was played.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, we could not qualify. So we had to cancel the initial arrangement. Those who ply that route will tell you that there are only 2 flights that operate, Ghana, Niger, Askai and Air Cote d'Ivoire. We contacted them to reschedule, but they said no, it was too late. At some point, the ministry even made efforts to get a chartered flight for them, but they all said the time frame was too short, the notice was too short, so they couldn't do it. So we had to struggle to get them available seats, and that's how come they were confined in a hotel for days after the tournament. It was not as if they were left to roam on their own. That amounts to frustration and being stranded, as the media reported.
Dan Kweku Yeboah is a spokesperson for the Normalization Committee. And Chelsea versus Manchester United kickoff at 7:30. A bit of team news. And after the Europa League win, Chelsea have reverted largely to the team that was hammered 6-0 at Manchester City 8 days ago. I'm sure Evans will be smiling at that one, because maybe, just maybe, the team will be short on confidence.
Because?
The team that was hammered 6-0 by City is a team that has been filled in by Mauricio Sarri.
Well, you know, look, it's an FA Cup, you know. This season we just won top 4 and that's it, you know. It's okay.
For Manchester United, Sergio Romero replaces David De Gea in post. Confident?
Oh, yeah. Sergio Romero is any team's first goalkeeper. So, I mean, the game I'm really looking forward to is the one over the weekend with Liverpool. We're going to we're giving them the Chelsea whipping, you know, 6.
Anyway, that's your sport.
Elton John Brobe, I greet you. So listen to News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. And MFA, you said you registered your kids for the Kids Olympics. Did they show up?
They couldn't, but they were doing it this weekend at the GIS. Yeah.
Well, okay, and the thing about it is, you know, because of work and everything, sometimes you plan to take your kids out to the playground and you're unable to do so. But it appears the Kids Olympics is addressing that challenge. As many parents have described the program as a great socialization tool for their youngsters. Second in the series of programs was held over the weekend at the Lincoln Community School, from where John Selenam Ampo reports.
With kids going to school, returning with a pile of homework, and parents rushing in and out of work, you can say having family time is becoming a luxury. But today, an entrepreneur and a single mom of 2 has found time to spend with her children. Jifa Nagalikore explains how she has to juggle between work and family.
It's been tough. And I think that's why I actually quit corporate life to do my own stuff. Because in corporate, you don't have the flexibility of saying that I need to attend my son's PTA, etc., or they are having a program in school and you have to be there. Because if I take the little one, just last week Friday, he had to pass out in Scout, and the program was at 11 a.m. I don't think if I'm in a corporate organization, I'll get that opportunity to do it. So I think for me, it's a big plus for me because I'm running my own show, and therefore I have time on my hands to decide where I want to be at any time.
For the children, the simple things like going out with their mom or dad is one of the things they enjoy.
I enjoy being with my family.
because I love them, and they do, as I said, they do everything that I want them to do for me. It makes me love everybody more, because the more goals I score, the more things they pamper me for.
At the Joy FM's Kids Olympics, their winnies also share how family time enables them bond with their kids. Many parents find it very heartwarming when they sit and look on as their children have fun with their siblings and peers, a very important part of socialization.
Now the kids are always from school. When you come home, you have to do your homework. They don't have time to exercise, like the sports. He just watch it on telly. When he get home, he doesn't have time to play the football or something. So I think it's very important.
It was my first time of seeing him in the mix of boys that were not his mates, but they were coordinating as if they've been friends for a
We
long
all
time.
have very busy lives, and spending time with your family doing enjoyable things together contributes to emotional health and well-being. Selinam Ampo for Joy News.
So it's definitely happening this weekend at the Ghana International School. The third in the series of the Kids Olympics will come off this weekend. That's the 23rd of February at the Ghana International School. It's not too late to register your children. Make sure you're part of it. So it's been a long day today.
Well, you know, the thing about
the
short commission is that it's pretty tough for us journalists. People don't appreciate, because you have to listen to it long and try and cut it. You have been doing it. It's such a hectic job, you know.
But fun though.
Well, exactly. In the moments when, you know, you can relax and listen and smile. Today we had many of such moments when, DSP Samuel Zugu appeared before the commission. We put together a few of those for you, you know, particularly the wearing of the uniform for, you know, I'm told it's called the anti-malaria uniform.
The masks?
Yes.
Okay.
Depending on the nature of the assignment, sometimes we go and lay ambush somewhere and we become prey to mosquitoes. So we have a particular gear that you wear that covers your neck and your face so that you will not get mosquito bites. So some of them, when we are moving, they put them on them as a precautionary measure. Based on the location that they are, they don't wear it, but when they get to areas that they know, this man will identify me, this man will identify, then they put it.
You mentioned maybe they want protection from mosquitoes and so on, but this was an operation during the day.
Yes, my lord.
This particular operation, you say you cannot tell why some of them wear masks. Yeah, definitely it wasn't for protection from mosquitoes.
Yes, my lord. I use that example to buttress the fact that in preparation for a possible staying outside overnight.
Commander, you said the mask is not part of their uniform. They use it to protect themselves from mosquitoes.
Yes, my lord.
So if they are wearing them at a place where there are no mosquitoes, surely the commander is in charge and can ask people to dress properly, because this is an official operation.
Ma'am, my lord.
Never mind. Go on.
My lord, I use the mosquito analogy as an
it was an analogy.
As an example. That mask that we use, it depends on the type of operation that we perform at a particular time. And I'm saying that mask, legitimately, when we go on operation, those who are known in the locality, for the sake of their identity not to be known, they are allowed to wear it.
So they were wearing the masks with your approval?
At that particular moment, I cannot vouch for that.
Yeah, so the anti-malarial national security uniform are going on sale. It's I'm going to be
on your own.
I'm going to be the agent. I'll be distributing it. You know, it's better than the mosquito net. Yes,
okay.
The mosquito net is too big. See, this one you wear, you can roll it. You know,
night and day.
It's mobile. You see, you can wear and move. Mosquito net, you have to be stationary. You know, this one is very effective.
What's happening on PM Express tonight?
Oh, so we're having a conversation. You know what has happened today in Ashanti region? It ties into all that has happened in Ayawaso that people have been condemning, but also mainly the former president met with the diplomatic community and played them some of the footage that had generated some controversy. Yesterday, the government did a press conference and said that they were going to put the diplomatic community on notice. We're going to have a conversation about that, look at the fallout of that, and also interrogate that with some interesting personalities. Dr. Vladimir Chidanso will join us. We'll also be speaking to Felix Kwachufosu and the Deputy Information Minister, Pius Ajide.
It's happening at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel on Multi TV.